I'm gonna just, this whole video is just gonna be me talking about episode 1 and 2 of X-Men and how much I absolutely love it. Actually insane. It's actually insane. when I just hit that play button and I saw the opening intro, I said, "Oh my goodness, y'all!" I did not expect for them to be so close to the original. Everything from the how Rogue and Storm fly over the X-Men logo. I'm like, oh my god, and the music too. The music feels it's modernized, of course, but it feels exactly like the 90s theme. They could have messed that up so bad, but I'm so glad they stuck so true to the original. Like, hopefully, how many episodes are out? Like, are gonna be for season 1? I wonder, like 12 or hopefully 20. But I digress, because let me just get straight into it here. With the art style, the characters, the animation, the music in the general show, it makes the show feel like a natural progression, like a proper sequel. Now, I don't think I fully watched it as a kid. I don't know if I made it up to like season 3 as a kid. I want to go back and watch the old one just to catch up on the events, because I know Xavier dies in season 5 or whatever, and then starts off where we left off, from Xavier, pretty much passing the torch. This is my first time doing a video like this, so bear with me. I'm just trying to organize my thoughts together, but let me be more organized here. All right, let's go. Characters. Now, the art style, the characters is pretty much very close to the original, with the black hard, dark lines and the comic book style, right? Like how they have the Jim Lee style art type of thing. It's very close to the original on that, which you can really see it in the establishing shots. You can really, especially in the first episode, it feels when you're watching the establishing shots, the factory and the mansion. You can really see you can see like a nice 90s filter type. It feels like season 6 of the X-Men 90s show that came out back then. All the voices on the show sound exactly. I think the voice actress for Rogue and Storm are the same person, but others I don't know. Y'all could correct me in the comment section, but I think Rogue and Storm are the same voice actresses from the 90s. I'm like, that's crazy that it was to get them back. But I couldn't tell, because they all sound just like they did back in the 90s. Prior to the show coming out, people had their speculations. I was seeing all over YouTube how, certain characters were this and that, and they were worried about the writers and stuff like that, and the woke stuff. And hey, when I was watching those first 2 episodes, I must have had my nostalgia shades on, because I didn't see any of that stuff. I was too busy just reliving those childlike, fun times of watching those old classic shows. And that show did such a good job of putting me back in those days where I was just so happy with the TV shows we had back then. So yeah, I didn't notice any of that stuff. For those of y'all who play really close attention to that stuff, let me know in the comments. One thing I want to talk about too is the team dynamic. All that's still there, of course. They did a good job. Cyclops is still the hardened team Boy Scout leader that's hard on everyone and stuff like that. And it makes sense, because he's got that weight on his shoulders as the leader. Especially now that Xavier's gone, and then that's gonna obviously butt heads with Wolverine. Them going back and forth, especially in that one scene. Well, anyway, spoilers, but especially in that one scene where Wolverine's like, the worst thing about Xavier being gone, you. I was like, oh no. I was like, jeez. I was like, wow, Wolverine, you have to hit him like that. This is the portion of the video where I just rant about my favorite scenes in episode 1 and 2. Starting with episode 1. Yo, am I the only one that thinks that Cyclops stole the show in episode 1? Let's be real. Like, I think Cyclops stole the show from the beginning of the episode 2. This man just waltzes in, makes an explosive entrance, and then says, "Hey kid, I'm the good guy. I'm that guy." And he just starts. He grabs the kid and he starts like, just take the back seat. I'm gonna handle this. And to this day, I didn't even know Cyclops was to do this. I didn't know this man started using his optic blast to project himself around the room. He's like dancing, and he was taking those freedom of those goons with the sentinel blasters. he was taking him to the ballroom dance floor. He starts dancing on them fools. He's shooting up the blast and is dancing around. I've never seen that before. That's the coolest. That's such a cool way to show Cyclops' evolution and his, his mastery over his mutant powers. That is so cool. So after doing that, they catch him. It's like, oh no, I'm tied up in this stupid little, rope thing. And it's like, hit back. It's like, I got you now. It's like, oh no, don't take off my glasses. Anything but my glasses. I got your glasses now. It's a visor thing, whatever. And he's like, nah. And he blows up the whole thing. I'm like, yo, this guy he's fully mastered his powers. And it's really cool to see how, they made Cyclops look so cool in this episode. I couldn't believe my eyes. It's really funny how they were playing basketball. That's like, I think that was one of the main, I think that was a callback to the comics, how they were playing basketball in that one issue. I forget what it was. So that was fun, Jubilee blasting. I feel like there's so many callbacks in this first episode to the original, just like specific scenes from the 90s X-Men that they put in this first episode. Like, I'm watching certain scenes in this first episode of the 97 one, or the new one, and I'm like, this feels like a callback to the old 90s show. I just can't put my finger on it. Like, when Cyclops says not, when they took off his visor, I feel like I don't remember what episode that was in the 90s show where he does that. And then Jubilee blasting Wolverine like that with her powers reminds me of the time where she does that to Wolverine in the Danger Room in the first episode, where he attacks Gambit in the Danger Room training thing, and Jubilee didn't know any better. He shoots him, and sends him flying. So I feel like that's a callback. That's like a reference to that scene, right? When Jubilee shoots him in the basketball court. I'm like, oh, that seems familiar. Oh, and the part where they're on the set, they're about to find Ball for Trask, and they're flying this ship, right? Sentinels attack the ship. Oh no, the X-Wing is no more. It blows up. And then they're all floating in the air. It's like, oh no, falling. Storm can fly, she's good. Rogue can fly, she's good. Morph turns into Archangel, so he's good. I'm like, oh, okay. So, and that was like, to me, that should have just told me, okay, there's gonna be a lot of cameos in the show, because Morph could turn into whoever he wants. Rogue grabs Beast and Bishop. Morph gets Wolverine. Storm gets I think it's Jean. They're all covered except for Cyclops. Cyclops was like, oh well, good work team. I'm following still. I'm like, what are you finna do? He does the biggest optic blast, like I'm talking from like Marvel's Capcom optic blast, like it's level 3, and he blasts the ground and he just gives that 6 super landing, and it says, to me, my X-Men. And I went, oh my gosh, yo, this show, yo, Cyclops is a G. He said G. I was like, what? Yo, Cyclops is so cool in this episode. And then they did the whole, and then there's the final fight between the X-Men and the Sentinels and Master Mold, and they did that the whole, cool fastball special. Gambit charges Wolverine's claws. What? Since when? And that's another thing. So I remember people. I think I heard people talking about how it's like, wouldn't that kill Wolverine or blow up his hands or whatever? But it goes back to what I was saying earlier about how these X-Men are mastering the powers. I didn't think nothing like to me that it sells the idea of mutant mastery. Like, Gambit could control how far the kinetic energy whatever thing, how far it goes into another object or human or whatever. So Gambit knows how to control it perfectly, that it just enhances Wolverine's claws. He throws a staff to give Wolverine a boost, and then Morph turns into Blob, another character, bounces up. Man does like a full like Superman raise a claw, flying projectile move into Master Mold, killing him, destroying him. Oh, by the way, Rogue does a RKO to Sentinel. She does a full RKO. There's so many cool. Oh, and then Beast goes into one of the Sentinels and controls it. There's so many cool parts, man. There's so many cool parts. Like, the X-Men are a team. They're working together. They're doing all this cool stuff, like these cool moves. And don't get me started about Storm. Oh my goodness. Actually, there's two insignificantly really, really small gripes about some of the character designs. Oh no, the characters, not the like. Okay, Storm's character design. I've always been a fan of the full hair, not the mohawk. Like, I know a lot of people like the mohawk style of her hair, But I like the full hair more. That's just me. But she's so cool in the show that I don't even care. Like she made a full tornado of sentinels. She's like what does she say? She always has those epic monologues before she does something. She always has that grand entrance. I was like, nothing's changed about you, Storm. She just like in the first episode, she's talking to Jubilee on the clock tower, and she has an epic speech. Humans fear what they do not understand. She does the same thing again here when she's fighting the Sentinels. She's like, ancient sands, heed my command. She turns the sands to ice or whatever, and then she like throws them all in this super tornado thing, and she just is like, oh, because right before that, Cyclops was like, tell him, Storm, pretty much, and she just wastes all the Sentinels like it was nothing. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's real. I can't believe I'm old. Like I'm old. I watched the show like 2 decades ago, and to see it back like this, and to see the team, they really. So far so good. That's all I gotta say. The closest thing to a modern X-Men anything I've had in this past, 10 years was this comic right here. I got this, a while ago, but this was like the closest thing I had to like, modernized X-Men from that era of, X-Men, the 90s show, right? So that was the hypest moment in episode 1. I actually really liked the part where Cooper's talking to Cyclops, and it's like, yeah, Professor X will be proud, and it shows them all standing with the X-Men just chilling after a well-earned victory. So that was episode 1. Loved it. Oh my goodness. And then Magneto shows up. That's right. I'm the true heir to the you're my X-Men now, heed me. Cliffhanger. And then episode 2, boy, Magneto, hey, listen, the master of magnetism is back, y'all. That's all I gotta say. He shows up and everyone's already just on edge. The mutant terrorists turned good guy? What? Question mark? What? You know what I mean? And, throughout the episode, he's trying to make amends. He's trying to, do right by Xavier because, Xavier trusted him, all this stuff. And then there's with him being there's a lot of things going on. Like, what's this love triangle between Rogue, Magneto, and Gambit? What's that about? Like, I know I've read a lot of comics throughout my life, and I've seen Magneto and Rogue be a couple. I just don't understand. Someone please explain that to me in the comments, please. Magneto steals the show in episode 2, right? I think he steals the show in episode 2 just by his his display of power, especially near the end of this episode. But before I get to that, I want to talk about this funny moment where they're all standing trial or whatever in the second episode. And then Wolverine's back at the mansion, and then Jean's like, "Oh my gosh, my water broke. I gotta go." She doesn't even say it like that. She says she's just like Wolverine, he's here, and Wolverine, as she's like limping over, holding the staircase railing, Wolverine's just like, "Wait, who's here? Is it Apocalypse?" I'm like, dude, she's in labor. Calm down. I started laughing so hard at that scene because Wolverine is just so on edge. All he thinks about is his enemies that he has to constantly fight. He didn't even realize that the girl's clearly in labor. Hilarity ensues as Wolverine's just driving like a complete maniac, bouncing her off in the car as he's just driving on the sidewalk, trying to get her to the hospital. She's trying to save the kids from not being run over by Wolverine, the madman. But he finally takes to the hospital and stuff like that. But at the trial, dude named Executioner shows up and is about to like completely, he starts like because at the trial, whatever, Magneto's trying to explain himself. He's like, yeah, I'll let you. He lets him take them in and stuff. Try to be peaceful. And he explains he gives a crazy speech that I don't have memorized right now. I just seen the episodes, but he's basically trying to say that you guys attacked us first, this and that. I'm just trying to live in peace. That's why I retaliated the way I did, and this and that, right? And then turns out the Friends of Humanity start invading the place, whatever. The X-Men have to go out there and stop them and stuff. But while Storm and I think Cyclops stay behind. No, Cyclops go out there too, but Storm stays behind with Magneto. And then while they're outside trying to fight them and stuff, this dude Executioner shows up and starts just wrecking everyone. Puts the collar on Bishop, blasts him and stuff. I'm like, he starts beating up Cyclops. I'm like, oh oh what? and then as he's about to finish up Cyclops, right? And then Deathstrike shows up. I'm like, what? Deathstrike? Who? But then you realize it's Morph. I was like, oh, and then he turns to Colossus, and then he turns to Psylocke. I'm like, what? Oh my gosh! I mean, it's all the original costumes. I was losing my mind on that. I lost my absolute mind on that scene. I'm like, you see so many cameo X-Men. Now the only thing I worry about, I just want all those characters we saw that Morph changed into. I hope they actually appear in the show later on, especially Psylocke. But that was an epic scene. And then we go back to Magneto. You know, Executioner makes his way into the trial where Magneto and Storm are. But before even that, the Friends of Humanity burst in and stuff, and like the Magneto makes this. He gets angry, makes this. Him and Storm make this big like cage to hold him at bay, and an Executioner is like aiming at Magneto, and then Storm notices it. Executioner shoots that crazy, mutant stabilizer ray gun thing at Magneto, but Storm jumps in the way. And then she gets blasted and she loses her powers, and then Magneto just snaps. Magneto's like, "So see what y'all do to my people?" And then he just takes the whole courtroom into space. I was like, what? Yo, Magneto, right? Magneto had to check them. Magneto checked them. The people in space were getting cold and everything. They're outside the stratosphere. I was like, oh my goodness, yo, Magneto is so cool. Oh my goodness, that Magneto stole the show for me at that point. Like he solidified himself as the boss of the X-Men at that point. He took them to the sky, giving them an epic speech. I thought he was gonna kill them. When he brought them in space like that. I was like, bro. But then Storm ends up leaving the team. You know what's crazy about that whole Storm thing though? She's literally said that early on in the episode about how she daydreaming about being a human. I'm like, I should have recognized that Chekhov's gun when she said that line. That was epic foreshadowing, man. But she ends up leaving, and I was like, oh, poor Storm, man. Damn, that one hurt because she's one of my favorite X-Men too. And she ends up leaving and stuff, and that's how the episode ends. Where you see Jean Grey show up from the, because Morph was like, oh yeah, by the way, yeah, she'll be back in no time. Don't worry about it. Here, knock on the door, and Jean Grey's at the door. I'm like, what? But Jean Grey's right behind Cyclops. What's going on? By the way, I forgot to mention, Jean Grey, delivers the baby because Rogue, because these hospital guys are so like, they don't want to deliver no mutant baby. So Rogue has to take his powers, learn how to deliver a child, and then she ends up doing it. And they name him Nate Summers. Your boy Nathan, that's my real name, Nate Summers. That means, y'all. I'm pretty sure that because I think that's Cable, the baby, right? That's Cable. Nate Summers is Cable from X-Men, but he's from the future. You all know the techno. Anyways, delivers the baby. I'm just ranting. I'm sorry, guys. This video is so unorganized. I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy with the X-Men show right now, man. Like it's insane how happy I am. But yeah, that's how the episode ends. Random Jean Grey shows up, which I'm gonna guess is Mystique because she's the only one that could, change with other people. And or maybe it's just a future Jean Grey. Who knows? Another gripe I forgot to mention too is Gambit's card effect. I don't hear the sound he used to make in the 90s. I always loved.
Hey, apprehend this.
But maybe it's just so faint I'm not hearing it, but yeah, that so far so good. In closing, I just feel like a kid again, man. No show has done that to me for a long time, man. It feels like when you're a kid, 10 years old or whatever, your favorite show is playing on TV, and you race to the living room to grab that remote and put it on. That's what it feels like. That's how I feel right now. Like I literally cannot wait for them to bring another episode. This is like, bro. This is and the fact of the matter is that they brought an old show back that I missed dearly from my cherished childhood, and it's actually being treated right so far. That's all I'll say. Anyways, that being said, thank y'all so much for watching. If you made this far, what y'all think? Let me know in the comments. This is my first time doing a video like this, where it's just me talking, me giving my thoughts, right? How I thought about the show. and everything like that. I might do more when episode 3 and 4 come out, just for me, just letting you guys know how I feel about the show, right? And all that good stuff. If you like what you see, let me know in the comments. You know, let's talk in the comments about what y'all thought. What was your favorite scene? Honestly, between episode 1, there's so many cool scenes. Episode 2, I'm gonna just say right off the bat when Magneto had them in that stratosphere, the court, and execution floating in space. That scene solidified Magneto for me. I will see y'all in the next one. I'm on peace.